Hello and welcome to Amanda's Trying, where sometimes all we can do is try to get through a day, and that's okay. I'm Amanda, and today I wanted to reflect on the 5 years that I've been experiencing post-concussion syndrome because March is the anniversary of my injury. I want to share some reflections, what I've learned, and my mindset going forward. I'm trying really hard, I promise. But all that I could do today was cuddle my dog and cry. Before I get into the video though, I just want to take a moment to say thank you for 100 subscribers because that's wild. Obviously I didn't start the channel to gain subscribers. I just wanted to share my story and also just kind of help myself process what I was going through. And the fact that people have responded and have felt validated and want to be a part of, I guess, this like little kind of community online, really cute. I'm very grateful, and I hope that this can be a positive impact on your life because this channel has helped me process everything that I've gone through. I don't know if people will be interested in this, but I thought I would put it out there, an idea to celebrate like 100 subscribers. If I were to do like a live on YouTube, I would just be like having chill music and knitting and then answering questions, and like you can just kind of do your own thing and chill while you watch. Let me know if that's something that you would want. If nobody comments, I'll just assume that people aren't interested and I'll just keep doing what I've already been doing. Thinking about the 5 years that I've had post-concussion syndrome, I feel like maybe I should just let you guys know where I'm at right now. Obviously, at the very beginning, for the first year and a half of post-concussion syndrome, I was completely debilitated. I couldn't hardly leave my house. I was only going to appointments. I wasn't doing anything social with family or friends. I couldn't read or look at any type of screen. I couldn't do any sort of cognitive activity for longer than 10 minutes. I basically just listened to music and watched The Office over and over again because that was as much stimulation as my brain could process. And I basically had a migraine level amount of pain with my headaches every single minute of that year and a half. So when I think about that and then I think about where I'm at now, wow, night and day, truly. I can do light physical activity for about 30 to 45 minutes. I try to walk my dog every single day. I can go sometimes on hikes or just like be walking around the city doing social stuff with friends for like 30 to 45 minutes. I can do cognitive activities such as reading, crosswords, creative writing, stuff like that. I can do for, on a good day, up to an hour. More intense cognitive activities like playing games, studying a subject, that is a little bit more limited, maybe closer to like 25-30 minutes, but I still can manage to do it for a short amount of time. For treatments, I still go to the chiropractor every week to get adjusted, and that still really helps me manage my pain. And I'm going to psychotherapy regularly because harder than any of the physical pain is the mental weight of being in chronic pain. It's very intense and it really messes with your mind. So counseling is an absolute necessity for me. I am able to go to a Bible study. It's every other week, and I'm able to go to majority of meetings. I see friends and families about once a week. I would say I have something social. Like I said, I try to walk Darcy every single day. I'm able to post on YouTube and on Instagram, not every single day, but I try to do shorts somewhat consistently. I've been trying to be very intentional about reading for fun more and writing creatively. Plus I do knitting as well, so just things that make me feel a little bit more productive and engaged cognitively. I also just started volunteering, and it's a position where I do it from home on my computer, and I have a week to complete the task. So it's perfect for me, and volunteering has always been a very central part of my life. I think that it is part of my duty as a human to give back to others, and so to find a role that actually suits the limitations and the capabilities that I have, it's just been very encouraging for me that I can start doing that again. Treatment-wise, I've tried almost all of the science-based, researched, standard treatments that anybody with post-concussion syndrome or migraines would be treated with. And obviously, like I've been saying, all of them, or most of them, have like helped in minor ways. But obviously, day to day, I am still debilitated. On my worst days, I can't function the way that I was just saying. I was telling you what I can do on a good day, but those good days aren't consistent enough for me to be functioning like a normal human being. I've just been approved to be on disability, which is government welfare, which is really exciting. I'm very grateful that I'm being provided for in that way, and that they were able to see my health issues as something valid that needs support. Obviously, being on welfare, there's so many internalized stigmas, and I did actually make a video talking about how I was trying to work through those things. I just completed my trial of Botox, which the hope was that that was going to really help me manage my very worst headaches and reduce those, because I get those maybe like once a week, and they can last for multiple days. But the Botox didn't give me any noticeable improvement. So now I have been referred to a pain clinic, and the next step is to try nerve blockers, which is slightly more invasive of a treatment than Botox is, but similar idea behind how I would be trying to manage the pain. So that's kind of my next step, and I'll figure out if I have to try even more once I tried this one. So a lot of people seem to still have this expectation of me that I should be throwing all of my energy, all of my thoughts, all of my resources to getting better. And the way that people think about me is very much in this like intense desire for me to be healed. I still have people coming up to me saying like, I pray for you every single day, I believe you're going to have complete healing, things like that. And that's definitely not the attitude that I have towards myself. For example, with trying new treatments, I have decided that I am only adding new treatments one at a time in my life. First of all, because when you're trying so many treatments, when you do have improvement, it's very difficult to know what is actually helping you out of the 3 treatments that you're like in the midst of trying. So it just is actually logical to kind of be surveying yourself and trying to understand how something is impacting you. It just works better when I'm only trying one treatment at a time. But secondly, my goal in life is not to have full healing or to return to the person that I was before the concussion, because I don't think that's ever going to happen. I don't get offended that other people have hope for that and that they desire that for me and that they're praying that for me. That's fine. They're allowed to have hope and they're allowed to have these expectations. I can't control those. But what I feel is important for me in my mindset is radical acceptance. So radical acceptance, it kind of takes away the judgment of an outcome. Like, for example, staying in pain, experiencing chronic pain for the rest of my life. My initial judgment and everybody else's judgment of it is, oh, that is awful. I would never want anybody to go through that. And that's a normal reaction. That's kind of a human reaction. But when it's something that I'm actually facing, it's not helpful for me to say, that's so terrible, because it is my reality, at least at this point and for the foreseeable future. So radical acceptance says, regardless of the outcome, I'm going to be okay, and I'm not going to fight against this reality because it's out of my control. It was hard to come to this point. Reminder, I've been in this whole crapshoot for 5 years, so I spent years of being in pain, really fighting it and putting all my energy and all of my resources to trying to get better. And I think that was what I needed to keep myself going in that moment. But now that it's clearly a long-term issue, my mindset has to transform just so that I can exist and not go crazy. And so for me, the necessity is radical acceptance. Like I said, I'm not offended that other people have hope, but it's very clear that that hope makes them feel better. It's not actually for me. People tend to have a reaction when I express the concept of radical acceptance. They say, you need to stay positive, or, you should always have hope, like God can do miracles, etc. And I'm not denying that. And I actually think radical acceptance goes hand in hand with positivity, because instead of getting bitter and angry and depressed, I can say, my life is still worth living. There are goals that I can complete. There are things that can make my life fulfilling, even in this reality. And I think that's so much more powerful than like the toxic positivity that on the surface makes people more comfortable. When I look at my future now, I honestly don't ever see myself going back to obsessively only trying to get better. I stepped away from that mindset of everything being treatment. Every aspect of my life was me trying to get better. The way that I was sleeping, the way that I was resting during the day, the way that I was breathing, the way that I was eating, the way that I was drinking. Every aspect was so intentional, and I had to be so aware of how I held my body and what thoughts I was thinking at all times. And I got burnt out and I stopped feeling human. Like, I wasn't actually experiencing life because my whole life was just treatment. And again, that was kind of the mindset I had to have in that moment to feel okay and to feel like there was hope, and that was what was motivating me, the idea of getting better. But I began to want to be a person again. I wanted to have a life, and I can have a life even if it looks different. So I'm never going to go back to the mindset of everything and anything is all for me, like getting better physically, because physical well-being is only a part of life. And I think now it's not that I stopped taking care of myself, it's my priority, and what I'm caring for is different. I'm still very conscious and careful about the way that I treat my physical body, but more important than how much pain I'm in is mentally how I'm handling things. I was very, very, very depressed. I don't ever want to get to that point again. Even though I am going to be active in my healthcare, I'm going to continue advocating for myself, I'm going to be open as research progresses and new treatments come out. There will always be a part of me that is going to do what I can to try to get physically better, naturally. But that's not the goal, and that isn't going to be my measure of success or failure. The healthiest way for me to live my life now is to build my life up to be something fulfilling. I have value, I have purpose as somebody who has chronic pain. There are things that I have to offer to the world, things that I can invest in people and things around me to make the world a better place. I have so many good people around me, and I want to be intentional about the time that I spend with them and the connections that I'm building in my little community. Because one thing that has been made so abundantly clear to me through these 5 years is that I am surrounded by such an incredible community of people. And I don't want to take that for granted, and I don't want to isolate myself away from them, feeling like I have to be physically in a certain space to be able to then contribute to this community that has done so much for me. So that's the mindset that I have as I go into my 6th year of being in pain every day. I believe in this moment, if nothing were to change, my life is worth living. And I believe that I can move forward even if my physical health doesn't. As always, I'm finishing off the video with a song recommendation, and today the song recommendation is Nobody's Coming by Andy Mineo. And I know there's probably a lot of people who will listen to this song and think this is just a really sad song. But for me, it kind of voices the freedom that I've experienced in giving up and recognizing, like, maybe it's not coming. This healing that I am obsessed with, it's not coming. Nobody's coming on a white horse to save me and my life. I'm the person who really gets to decide how fulfilling my life is. And I'm the one who can make changes so that I feel better about myself and that there's more to my life than just the pain that I live in. So for me, this recognition that nobody's coming to save you, you definitely do have to mourn that. And I did, like I said, it was rough a few years ago. I had to mourn the life that I lost, and I had to mourn the idea of health that obviously was not in my reach anymore. But after you grieve the things that you lost, which is normal and which is healthy, then you get to be empowered because you still have autonomy in your life and there's still so much for you to live for. Our reality doesn't have to paralyze us. We can still move forward. So that is it for this video. Make sure you let me know if you want me to do a live stream on YouTube. And I hope that this can be encouraging for you, because honestly right now I'm feeling encouraged despite my reality. So yeah, see you next time.
I've been waiting for that moment when my heart heals, waiting for someone to take away the pain that I feel. Then it all hit me last night, nobody's coming. But why should I dwell on the things I can't change? What if I'm the answer for things that I've prayed? All I know is, if nothing changes before I'm gone, I got no one else I could blame it on.